Hi everyone, good morning and good day to all. So, in the series of lectures, we are discussing various topics biopharmaceutics, absorption, mechanism of absorption, factors influencing absorption. And to its continuation, today we are going to discuss about absorption of drug from non-peroral extravascular routes. So, this presentation majorly covers the other route of administration than oral. So, here the content has been limited to the curriculum aspect. So the content what is discussed is almost related to a syllabus or some content has been explained in a better aspect or updated aspect. Whereas no any limitations to the learners that they have to go specifically with this content what has been said in this presentation. You can elaborate your knowledge by referring various journals, publications, or some updated version of books, and thereby you can enhance your quality of answers too. Well, with this note, let's move on to the today's content. Well, so discussing about route of administration, a drug absorption which has been taking place by all non-oral extravascular site which governs the same factor that is influencing the absorption from the GIT, such as the physicochemical properties of the drug, formulation factors, anatomic or physiological conditions or pathological conditions of the patient. Also, the transportation barriers, which is mainly responsible for movement of drug to the systemic circulation, such as lipoil barrier or GI barrier to the GI barrier, and the mechanism of drug absorption, passive diffusion, all these remains constant. Well, then where does it differs? So it majorly differs in the bioavailability. So most of this non-peroral route possess 100% bioavailability or it possess better systemic drug availability by overcoming or bypassing the first pass metabolism. So let's see some of the non-peroral routes which bypasses the pre-systemic metabolism as follows. So the first one is about the octic. So drug which is reaching to the ear cavities. So that is what octic. Similarly, the next one is ocular. The drug or dosage form which you are using to release in the ocular region, followed by transdermal or topical delivery system, and the next is about rectal or vaginal delivery. All the parenteral administration, mostly the intramuscular, subcutaneous, intravenous, all this parenteral delivery, and the inhalers or nasal delivery, specifically speaking about drops or sprays. So most of these route, whatever we are discussing so far, these route of administration bypasses the first pass metabolism, and also there are some aspects which has been having or drug releasing through the oral cavities. So that is what about here. In oral cavities, when we are using tablets or capsule, the drug reaches the stomach and it undergoes absorption to the portal circulation to liver, and there it get metabolized. Even in oral administration, such as buccal and sublingual dosage form, have a better bypassing capacity of first pass effect, and thereby it get absorbs in the systemic circulation directly by overcoming the first pass effect. So these are the various routes which supports for better drug delivery through the non-peroral systems. So this is what we are going to discuss in today's session one by one in detail. Well, the first dosage form or administration is buccal or sublingual. So saying about this delivery, a very conventional one and much familiar dosage form is nitroglycerin sublingual tablet. So this nitroglycerin sublingual tablet is being used in such a condition of emergency status in case of angina or cardiac arrest position. So the patient, upon administering, they will get quick relief. It denotes that the onset of action will be very faster. So this is one, the conventional aspect. There are several modified novel approaches has been involved in this buccal delivery, making this oral cavity as a depot for delivering the drug for longer duration of time, such as 12 to 24 hours. So that optimization has been approached with various buccal drug delivery system, such as tablets, films, or strips, various approaches, so that the dosage form will be binding to the mucous layer and the drug will be in a unidirectional level. The drug reaches the systemic circulation. It also bypasses the first pass effect. Well, so let's know what one detail. The major thing is about the barrier. So the barrier of drug absorption by this route is the epithelial of the oral mucosa. And here most of the drug undergo passive diffusion, and the mechanism of absorption in some condition such as nutrients, they obey or absorb through carrier mediated process. And the buccal or sublingual route, it majorly appears as an ideal route of drug for lipid soluble drug aspects. So mostly lipid soluble drugs is a preferably used in this sublingual or buccal delivery system. Also, some examples which we are using in this buccal delivery for systemic actions such as anti-anginal, some nitrates and nitrites, and some antihypertensives such as nifedipines, and some analgesic such as morphine, and bronchodilators such as phenytoin, and steroids such as estradiol. So these are some of the things which is used. And some conditions, macromolecules such as peptides. So these are also used in the buccal delivery system. So it clearly denotes that a wide range of drugs can be utilized or used in the buccal drug delivery system or sublingual delivery system for a better therapeutic activity. And saying about advantages. So what is the major advantages in this buccal delivery? So this buccal delivery supports for rapid absorption and high blood level due to the high vascularization of the region, and therefore particularly it is useful for administering of anti-anginal drugs. So that is what the first example which is given of. So anti-anginal, it has quick immediate action such as we said earlier, nitroglycerin. That's one. And the second important advantage in this buccal or sublingual delivery is it bypasses the first pass effect. So upon administration, the drug will be getting absorbed in a unidirectional manner. There won't be any backflow of drug to the oral cavity. So thereby the first pass effect is overcome. So in the dosage form, we have a backing layer. So this backing layer prevents the backflow of drug to the oral cavity. So the drug release will be unidirectional to the blood circulation directly. Thereby the drug absorption will be 100%. So first pass effect has been overcome. That was the second major advantages. And the third major advantage is no degradation of drug, such as it is overcoming or encountering the GI tract. So drug is not going to exposure to the gastrointestinal tract. So the enzyme or pH, nothing is going to affect the dosage form. It's another advantages in case of buccal or sublingual delivery. And the last thing is about the presence of saliva facilitates both the drug dissolution and its subsequent permeation by keeping the oral mucosa always moist. So that is the common advantages in the mucosal delivery, and here this supports for better drug dissolution as well as absorption or permeation process. So these are some of the advantages of this buccal or sublingual administration. Saying about the factors, there are some factors to be considered in oral mucosal delivery. Those are lipophilicity. So slightly higher lipid solubility than that of required for gastrointestinal absorption is necessary for passive permeation. So the drug whatever we are using, if it is highly lipophilic, that is a suitable one. The next is about the saliva secretion. So in addition to the high lipid solubility, the drug should be soluble in aqueous buccal fluid. So that is biphasic solubility of the drug is necessary. So it should be soluble in aqueous, also it should be permeable, so lipophilicity should be there. So always a drug with high lipophilics and better solubility in saliva is preferred. So absorption is much delayed if the drug is present in a dry environment of mouth. So if the drug is having drug shows a better absorption if the oral cavity is quite watery or salivary in nature than in dry condition. The next one is about the pH of the saliva. So usually the pH should be around 6. So the buccal pH always favors the absorption of drug which remains in unionized form. So that is about the saliva pH. The next is about binding of drug to the oral mucosa. So systemic availability of a drug that binds to oral mucosa is very poor. So if it is binding, then it leads to poor systemic availability. So the binding should be lesser compared to the other conditions. The next is about storage compartment. For some drugs such as buprenorphine, a storage compartment in the buccal mucosa appears to exist, which is responsible for the slow absorption of the drug. Few drugs may store in the buccal environment. So thereby, if it upon storage, it may affect the drug bioavailability. Then the last one is about the thickness. So thickness of the oral epithelium. The sublingual absorption is faster than the buccal since the epithelium of the sublingual portion is much thinner and immersed in a large volume of saliva. So that is what. So lesser the thinner and higher the moisture, it leads to better absorption. So comparatively in the buccal cavity, sublingual portion have a better absorption due to its less thin thickness, also its high or huge saliva secretion. And some factors that majorly limits the absorption are about the other related aspects, and so they are mucosal surface area. So saying about mucosal surface area, lesser the surface area will be having a major impact in it. It limits the drug absorption. And the other one is about the taste of the medicament and discomfortness. So some of the drug will be having unpleasant taste. So that without any modification, it will be quite difficult to administer in the oral route of administration. So this is what about some problems or factors that are challenging this oral mucosal delivery system. Well, the next route of administration is rectal. So many drugs that may be administered either in solution or suppositories. So in case of solution, there may be called as an enemas, and upon considering this both types, the solution possesses better absorption than that of the suppositories. So for irrigation purpose, mostly we use a solution type. It possesses better action than compared to the suppositories. And in this particular form, a drug which is mixed with the waxy substances that dissolves or liquefies after it is inserted into the rectum. So that is what the basic principle of suppositories. So upon preparation or during storage, it remains solid, and once it get exposed to the body temperature, it gets melt, and that is what the major mechanism of drug delivery or drug release from the dosage form is of. And this drug is also absorbed from rectum and anal canal by passive diffusion of unionized drug. That is another important aspect in case of this rectal administration. The pH of the rectal fluid also influences the drug absorption, and the absorption is slower because of the limited surface area. So like that of GI, the surface area is huge in case of gastric and similarly in intestine, whereas the surface area is very poor or less in this rectal administration. And absorption from the lower half of the rectum bypasses the first pass metabolism. So that is a major advantages over here. In case of systemic availability, On lower part of the rectum, the drug get absorbed directly to the systemic circulation, thereby it bypasses the first pass effect and possesses 100% bioavailability. Some drugs which has been used by this administrations are aspirin, paracetamol, theophylline, and some barbiturates. So this rectal administration is used for majorly in case of children or older patients or elder patients, and some patients those who are not compatible for administration of medicament by other route, specifically a coma patient who couldn't able to swallow the medicaments. So in such condition we prefer this rectal administrations. The next is about topical administration. So saying about topical administration, it's the largest organ of the body and which has a body weight approximately 2 kgs and 2 square meter in area, and it receives about 1/3 of total circulation. The skin or the topical receives the maximum portion of blood circulation within the body, and the majority of the drug which has been applied by topically are meant for both local and systemic effects. So that is what the major advantages of the topical administration. It supports for local effects, also it supports for systemic delivery through transdermal permeation of drug to the skin. And some dosage forms which is available in topical administrations are creams, ointments, lotions, gels, transdermal patches, and some discs. When topically applied drugs are meant for exerting their effects systemically, the mode of administration is called as percutaneous or transdermal delivery. So that is what. So when upon penetrating the skin and if the drug reaches the systemic circulation, we call that as a transdermal delivery. Whereas a drug which possesses a local effect, any disinfectant or any protecting purpose, so that we call it as a topical administration. And this particular topical administration mostly possesses diffusion through the multiple lipid layer of dead or hydrophilic keratinoids and horny cells of stratum corneum. So this drug penetration by overcoming all these barriers that act as a rate limiting step for drug penetration. And this topical drug delivery application, we have various approaches as we discussed so far. One is of systemic delivery. So in case of systemic delivery, some drugs such as clonidine, scopolamine, nicotine, fentanyl have been already successfully approved by FDA and is been launched in market also. And saying about the local delivery, some antibiotics, anti-inflammatory, protectant, or some aesthetic preparations, anesthetic preparations also been used in these conditions. The next is about the topical administration mechanism of drug pathway or transporting pathway. So there are three major pathways by which the drug get diffuses through the skin. So in case of transdermal delivery, the drug which possesses transcellular passive diffusion. So here it crosses the keratinoid cells and it is accessible to polar molecules for hydrophilic drug which shows permeation through this layer. So non-polar molecules, hydrophilic drugs. And the next is about intracellular. So in this intracellular, the drug crosses through the lipid barrier, accessible to the non-polar molecules. Also, the lipophilic drugs shows better permeation through this layer. The last one is about transappendigeal cells or appendigeal route, and this mainly accessible for polar molecules, and across the hair follicles, sweat glands and sebaceous glands the drug get penetrated. So this is one another route of drug permeation in topical or transdermal permeation. So saying about transdermal delivery, so the transdermal drug delivery system is defined as a self-contained discrete dosage form which are also known as patches. When patches are applied to the intact skin, it delivers the drug through the skin at a controlled rate to the systemic circulation. So this is what about transdermal drug delivery system is of. And this transdermal drug delivery has been introduced somewhere around 1980s. So around 40 years or 4 decades, this transdermal drug delivery has a major role in drug delivery system, drug delivery aspects. So this have several modifications for the last 4 decades. This has several modification. Because of this modification and upgrading in this delivery aspects, this dosage form still exists a challenging as well as a predominant dosage form in drug delivery for various diseases. Even till date, till the gene therapy, they are trying this transdermal drug delivery systems. So some modifications that we can able to know from this transdermal deliveries are uh, enhancement approaches. So the earlier existing transdermal delivery such as films or patches faces major problem in permeation of drug through the skin because of its size of the drug or name any other or nature of the skin. Several factors are there. Because of that, the drug delivery may be affecting. So some approaches has been utilized to enhance the drug delivery such as physical method, chemical approaches, vesicular approaches, things on. Among them, the most familiar is about the physical approaches such as use of iontophoresis or thermal ablation or velocity based devices or sonophoresis or microneedles. Several approaches has been utilized in case of physical enhancement of transdermal drug delivery. And some advanced aspect which are using this transdermal device assisted drug delivery system is about for diagnosis aspect, also for therapy aspect. In case of diagnosis, this transdermal assisted delivery or devices supports to know the blood pressure, body temperature and blood sugar level also or glucose level also. Whereas in case of therapy, the dosage forms such as microneedles or thermal ablations or iontophoresis or sonophoresis, these supports for better enhancement of drug delivery by better penetration through this and possessing a better systemic drug availability. So these are the various modification. So till now, the current trends, there are other approaches such as vesicular delivery, transfersomes, proneosomes, as well as SNEEDs, SMEEDs. Various approaches has been used for topical delivery, which possess a better transdermal penetration and better drug absorption process. So in case of factors, so there are some factors which majorly affects this percutaneous absorption. Those are the thickness of the stratum corneum. So one important aspect, as we know well, based upon the thickness, if the thickness increases, the absorption will be very slow, such as foot and palm, where the skin will be so thick, the drug administration in the foot or palm region, the drug release will be quite lesser. So that is one factor. The next is about the presence of hair follicles. The absorption will be quite rapid from region where the numerous hair follicles present. Example, scalp. So in the region of scalp, the drug release will be much better due to the excess hair follicles in it. The next is about the trauma. So trauma is nothing but any cut or rashes or inflammation or some burns. Some in such condition in the stratum corneum will be destroyed. So upon applying the dosage form in this region will be possessing better penetration of drug or better drug absorption. The next one is hydration of skin. So soaking the skin with water or occluding by it by using emollient, the plastic film or dressing or using some plastic film or dressing which promotes hydration of skin and better drug absorption. So indirectly saying about it, dry skin possesses low absorption when compared to the wet skin. So in order to enhance the permeation in some condition, we use any one of the approaches. We'll either soak the particular area with water for a specified time or by using some emollient or some films or dressings. These by these approaches we can promote the drug absorption. The next is about environment humidity and temperature. So the higher the humidity and temperature increases both the rate of hydration as well as local blood flow and hence a better absorption will be found. Next is about age. So saying about age, gross histological changes has been found in the ages of skin. So aged skin is more prone to allergic or irritation effect of topical content, which is having some chemical substances. As a result, it leads to hardening of blood vessels. This is in case of aged person. And in case of infant, it absorbs a drug through the skin in an effectively as that of an adult. So the ratio of surface area to the body weight is 3 times that of adults. Hence, systemic toxicity of the topically applied drug of a particular concern in case of infants. So it should be much cautious upon administering a transdermal application to an infant. Also, in case of elderly, as it possesses some allergy, much precaution has to be taken over. The next is about grooming. The frequency and the vigor with which one baths or the type of soaps what they are using, this will be contributing to variability in drug absorption. So the dry nature or the changes in the condition of skin due to temperature or any other causes which may affect the drug absorption. The next is about exposure to the chemicals. So occupational exposure to solvents can accelerate the shedding of epidermis cells and leads to enhancement of drug absorption. So this is one. The next is about vehicle or the base. So the vehicle in which the drug is incorporated influences the drug absorption. The one in which the drug is dissolved rather than the dispersed will be having a better absorption. So than dissolving, the dispersed condition shows less absorption process. The next is use of permeation enhancer. Some chemical permeation enhancers such as dimethyl sulfoxide, propylene glycol, ozone derivatives, these are used to enhance the drug permeation for which the drug shows low permeability ratio. The next is about the chronic use of certain drugs. Long-term use of cortisol or catalytic enzymes like salicylic acids results in enhanced drug penetration. So this is the another condition where we are using to know the permeation absorption of drugs or percutaneous absorption of drugs. So these are some of the factors where we have to take much concentration to know how to improve the drug penetration through the skin. The next is about the parenteral route. So in case of parenteral, there are several administrations in parenteral route of administration. Some of them will possess a better systemic availability and quick or rapid onset of action. So direct delivery of drug into the system circulation will be achievable. So some benefits are there upon complications in administration. So some specialized or skilled person are necessary to administer, and improper administration may lead to severe complications of to the patient. Also, it may cause lethal. So let's know the various route of administration. One is about intramuscular, and the next is subcutaneous, intravenous, intradermal, intraatrial, intrathecal, intraperitoneal, and intraarticular or synovial fluid. So these are the various route of administration by parenteral administration process, and every dosage form or all the dosage form whatever mentioned here possess better drug bioavailability. Among these all, we are just going to focus only the first two, intramuscular and subcutaneous delivery. So let's know what is it in detail and how does it supports for better absorption. So in case of intramuscular, so the absorption of drug will be relatively rapid but much slower in case of intravenous injection. So intravenous, it will be very faster once it is administered, as it is present in the systemic circulation, as it is directly administered to the systemic circulation, it immediately starts distribution. of drug from the blood to the tissues. So the response will be much quicker in case of intravenous administration compared to that of the intramuscular. Whereas in case of oral administration comparing to intramuscular possesses better bioavailability, better quick onset of action. So that is other way of comparison. But among comparing this both, this intramuscular is quite slower. Next is about absorption of lipophilic drug, which majorly undergoes by passive diffusion, and this will be making the drug to get directly into the systemic circulation. And the next is about hydrophilic and ionic drug will be absorbing in the blood circulation through capillary pores model. So pore transportation, it get easily penetrated as it is hydrophilic. Well, now let's know about the factors which has been majorly determining the rate of drug absorption through intramuscular administration. The first one is about the vascularity of the injection site. So the decreasing order of the blood flow rate to the muscular tissues or arm, thigh and buttocks muscle. So the majorly the blood flow determines the rate of drug absorption. So in case of deltoid muscle, it receives much blood when compared to that of the gluteal muscle. So that's why the arm gets much absorption when compared to that of the buttocks muscle. And the absorption rate decreases in case of some circulatory disorders such as hypotension. So where the blood flow will be lower, the drug absorption also will be lower. And the next is about lipid solubility and ionization of the drug. High lipid solubility shows better absorption by passive diffusion, whereas hydrophilic and ionized drug shows slow absorption through capillary pores. The next is about the molecular size. So the molecular size of the drug is most important thing. The small molecules and ions gain direct access into the capillary through pores, whereas macromolecules are taken by the lymphatic system. Next is about volume of injection and drug concentration. A drug in concentrated injection and large volume is absorbed faster when given in a diluted for small volumes. The fifth factor is pH, composition and viscosity of the injection vehicle. So a solution of drug in acid or alkaline pH or in non-aqueous solvent such as propylene glycol or alcohol, when injected intramuscularly, it results in precipitation of the drug at the injection site, followed by slow and prolonged absorption. So that is what the problem. So viscous vehicles such as vegetable oil also slow the drug absorption. So the principle can however utilized in controlled drug delivery system. So upon delaying the drug release, we can prefer either viscous vehicle or any other approaches for delaying the drug release process. The next route of administration is subcutaneous. So in case of subcutaneous, the drug delivery, absorption of drug will be better compared to that of the other route, but comparing to intramuscular, it is quite slower. So that is thing in subcutaneous, then intramuscular, then intravenous. This is the increasing order of drug absorption. The next is about administration of drug that degrades when taken orally. That can be utilized or administered by subcutaneous route such as insulin or sodium heparin. These are unstable on oral administration. So that is suitably administered in subcutaneous administration. Also, it possesses passive diffusion. That is another advantages, and the rate of absorption depends on the blood flow and injection volume. So it is quite common not only for this route, for all the route. As far as the blood circulation, the better will be the drug absorption or drug distribution. It is used only when the drug does not cause irritation, otherwise severe pain, necrosis or tissue damage may occur. So that is what the major condition is of. It should not cause any irritation upon subcutaneous administration, the first important factor. And the rate of absorption from the site can be increased by two approaches. One is enhancing the blood flow to the injection site by massaging or applying some heat or co-administration of vasodilator. And the next is about increasing the drug tissue contact area by co-administering some enzyme like hydrouronidase. So this are some of the approaches for better subcutaneous drug permeation or absorption. The next administration is pulmonary administration. So in case of pulmonary administration, the drugs are generally administered by inhalation either as gases or aerosols which are rapidly absorbed just like exchange of gases between blood and the inhaled air. Also in this the absorption of hydrophilic drug occurs by diffusion through the aqueous membrane pore and the lipophilic drugs are absorbed by passive diffusion. Some conditions which we use majorly here are this pulmonary administration supports for systemic availability also. Not only the drug used for treating the local action, it can use for systemic availability because the exchange of gases takes place better by drug penetration will be there and easy route of administration, bypassing the first pass effect. Having these much advantages, it can be used for drug delivery to systemic action also, but mostly these are preferred for local action or respiratory tract action such as bronchodilators, anti-inflammatories, anti-allergics, etc. And this also, as I said earlier, it avoids first pass metabolism and provides rapid action, thereby it supports for systemic release also, thereby it possesses a better release when compared to the other route by minimizing the side effects upon systemic drug availability. Some conditions are to be considered under this pulmonary administration are the drug delivery to the lungs. It depends upon the particle size of the aerosol droplets. So particles with greater than 10 micron impacts on the mouth, throat and upper respiratory tract mucosa. It does not reach the lower tract of respiratory, particularly the alveoli. And very small particles of 0.6 micron will have the tendency to absorb very quicker, whereas particles of 1 to 5 micron deposit within the lower respiratory tract that possess better drug release or exchanges in the alveoli. The next is about intranasal administration. So similar to the pulmonary here, the drug absorption will be quite rapid as parenteral administration because of high permeability and rich vasculature. And some drugs which has been used for treating local actions are nasal congestion as well as rhinitis, and popular for administering the peptide as well as protein. Mostly peptides and protein as it is having instability problem or facing instability problem in GI route. So it also act as a major route of administration of proteins and peptides. The next about mechanism of drug delivery from nose to the brain. So here the drug that reaches the blood circulation may subsequently crosses the blood-brain barrier. So that is one advantage. Upon targeting the blood-brain barrier, we can use this intranasal administration as a preferred route. And another thing is about substance which may cross the olfactory epithelial via simple diffusion. The receptor-mediated transcytosis or paracellular transport will be absorbing the drug and it reaches the nerves to the CNS. So these substances will be supporting for releasing the drug to CNS area. So that is the advantages of the intranasal administration. So in case of other approaches, the absorption majorly depends upon drug lipophilicity as well as the molecular weight. The rapid absorption by diffusion is observed in 400 to 1000 Dalton. So gradually it reduces. Upon 400 it has better drug diffusion, whereas as on 1000 it diffuses gradually. And lipophilic drug shows better rapid absorption by diffusion, whereas hydrophilic drug shows poor absorption. Also, it get transports through poor transportation process. And use of permeation enhancer shows better bioavailability enhancement for drugs which are having its size around 6000 Daltons. The permeation drugs influences the pH of the nasal secretion, also viscosity and pathological condition in some cases such as common cold or rhinitis. Well, the next administration is intraocular. So similar to that topical administration, here the ocular treatment in case of local effect such as mydriasis, miosis, anesthesia, or treatment of infection such as glaucoma, we are preferring this administration. Also, this sterile aqueous solution of drug are widely used in ophthalmic formulations and administering in the conjunctival such as Cold-G-Swac. The barrier of intraocular penetration of a drug in the cornea which possess both hydrophilic and lipophilic characteristics. It undergo passive diffusion. There are some factors which has been involved or affecting this process. The various factors are the pH of the lacrimal fluid. So saying about pH, this pH of the lacrimal fluid will influence the absorption of weak electrolyte such as pilocarpine, and in other way the pH of the formulation influences the lacrimal output. Higher the pH decreases the tear fluid and promotes drug absorption, whereas lower the pH solution increases the lacrimation and subsequently leads to drainage of drug, which leads to loss of drug also. And the rate of blinking also influences in drainage losses. The next is about the volume of fluid. The volume of fluid instilled into the eye also affects the bioavailability and effectiveness of the drug. Normally, the human eye can hold 10 microliter of fluid. So hence, upon installing a small volume of drug solution in concentrated form increases the effectiveness that will administer in a large volume. So that is what about the volume aspect due to its low capacity. The next is about viscosity. Some viscosity impetters are used in the formulation to enhance the bioavailability, and oily solutions, ointments and gels shows sustained drug action. So this is what about the various aspects of. So indirectly saying these are only some of the drawbacks or limitations which is being found in ocular administration. There are several modified approaches as we discussed about transdermal, as it has various approaches. Similarly, ocular drug delivery have a various milestone in better drug delivery system, such as we can use various aspects. Let's go in a clockwise manner in the images. The first one is about microneedle. So this microneedle is one of the approaches which enhances the drug delivery through ocular route. The next is about encapsulated technology. So encapsulated technology and followed by microcapsules. These are some of the novel approaches in which the drug are incorporated and it acts as a carrier which reaches the drug into the ocular region for a longer duration of time, better enhancement aspect. The fourth one in the clockwise direction is about using of some monoclonal antibody or some gene therapy through the nanoparticle approaches. So gene delivery is also one of the novel approaches in ocular delivery, followed by intravitreal implants. So intravitreal implants or various approved medicaments or the approved dosage forms are there, which supports for delivering the drug within the vitreal region for longer duration of time. And the other aspect about the impact or implants in Cold-G-Swac, so DSV, that is an Visualex is one of the approved product or FDA product which has been used for releasing the drug in an implant process. And the next is about epithelial or episcleral implants. So the topical superior implants which we are using, and the next one in the clockwise direction what we are using is contact lenses. So the earlier problem on topical administration of drug to the ocular area or eye cavities, such as contact time or else capacity of the drug loading within the ocular region or difficulties on visual. So these all are overcome by these approaches such as contact lenses or some plugs which is using in the ocular region, or we call that as a occusets, ocular insets. So these ocular insets possess better drug availability as it has a better contact time also. By using ointments or creams, we can able to make the drug contact for a few minutes, whereas in case of ocular delivery such as occusets or contact lenses, we can make the drug to contact to the ocular region even for 24 hours. So there are several marketedly approved once a day ocular implants are available, ocular implants or occlusets or contact lenses are available, in which the drug will be incorporated and the drug release will be remains for more than 24 hours without impairing the vision, without causing any disturbance to the ocular cavity. So this is the much benefit in case of ocular administrations. The last one is about the vaginal administration. So as we discussed, this vaginal administration also have taken several diverse approaches in nowadays, saying that these nanoparticle approaches or mucoadhesion delivery, several modification has been taken place. So the drug meant for intravaginal or generally intended to act locally in treatment of bacterial or fungal infection or preventing consumption. So consumption, this is another one aspect. So in order to overcome the various local infections, we use this vaginal delivery. Also, nowadays we are using this for systemic drug delivery approaches by various mechanisms of polymeric nanoparticle nanospheres or SMEDs or vesicles or lipid carriers, so on. So the drugs are absorbed by passive diffusion into the systemic circulation. So that is what it's another diverse use of it. Some factors which is influencing the absorptions are the pH of the luminal fluid, which ranges around 4 to 5. So some drug may not be in stable or it may convert into an ionized nature, that particular pH. Some vaginal secretions and microorganism present in the vaginal lumen. These are all the some of the factors which affects the drug penetration or absorption. So far we have discussed about various route of administration upon non-per-oral extravascular administration. These administrations, what we have discussed so far, all possess better bioavailability, bypasses the first pass effects, and most preferred route of administration compared to the oral. The one advantage among all these dosage form in oral is it is much familiar and ease of preparation. Tablets and capsules are easy to prepare, and we have enough experience in preparing this dosage form, so any complication can be easily identified, and obviously the cost is much less in case of tablets and capsules, whereas the topics whatever we discussed today all will be having some cost ineffectiveness, some sophisticated technique will be needed, but apart from that cost effective aspect, it have these dosage forms what I have discussed today have enough or proven benefits of drug availability in a better manner, 100% bioavailability or better systemic approaches, systemic delivery compared to the oral administration such as tablets and capsule in various aspects. So that is what about the today's content in nutshell. Well, to conclude, let me use this way of a positive note. A three-letter word having an opposite meaning of cry and joy. A four-letter word which has an opposite meaning of hurt and heal. A five-letter word has an opposite word of under and above. A 6-letter word has an opposite meaning opened, closed. A 7-letter word has an opposite meaning of enemies, friends. And finally, an 8-letter word has an opposite meaning of negative and positive. It means life is like a double edged sword. So it is we how we are going to use the opposite side of swords in a positive manner. We have to transfer every negative side into an aura of positivity. We have to choose the better side of the life. It's in our hand how better we are going to choose the positivity in all the action what you're seeing of. Very commonly saying about it, those who've seen the old presentation, previous presentation, as I'm saying about the goal setting, immediately everyone will be having a thought that, yeah, this is a good one. I'm going to start a goal setting today. I'm going to list out the plans. I'm going to do all these things. Like that, you might be has a thought as soon as listening to it. But among those who listened, most of them might be forgotten it, or as the time goes on, the thought or the fire what has been created in you as soon as listening might be got faded or erased due to several disturbances or other focusing on other activities such as using of WhatsApp or Facebook or Twitter or something else. Very few might be focused, might be sat separately and written or list out some activities or their goal, or they might be thought of proceeding of it. So my theme of saying this presentation with the slide is, whatever the thoughts you get, there might be several negative forces to get suppress that and may deviate you from it. Erase all the negative thoughts, negative fields, or whatever may be, and focus yourself to what you are thinking of, which will be good for you, which will be making you succeed in all the activities. Think about it. So, with this positivity, move yourself forward, make your activities, attitudes, attention, and creativities in a better manner towards your career path and shine yourself as a succeeder, achiever, determined person in the future, so that your positivity let make you happy, also the surrounding persons happy. So create a positivity within you and to the environment, so that let the world have an aura of positivity and you be the chain to initiate it. You all for your patient listening, and hope you all understood the concept. In case of any doubts, please feel free to contact and clarify your doubts. Thank you all.